you're able to recognize what fulfillment is, and you recognize that living in a cardboard box doesn't identify fulfillment. Trust that.
So am I being fairly supple, or am I, in your words, fattening my cork?
You are not fattening your cork. Be constantly attentive for the manifestation of your fulfillment and your family's fulfillment. And do not let the ego successfully suggest to you that what has happened is a result of your being guilty of something.
That was a part of the question that I hadn't gotten to. If I could expand on that a little bit. I have an employment history that even my 5-year-old daughter would recognize as a pattern of approximately 2 years of employment, and then the end of the employment, and whether that be myself that makes a change or whether it be thrust upon me, there's this pattern. And I have the tendency, and I have to sort of fight that, to say, well, there's something wrong with me, that I'm causing this. I'm a big fat loser, even though I try to watch my weight, but bad joke.
What is it a pattern of? It's a pattern of movement. Like inhaling and exhaling. Like the tide coming in and going out. Or the waves coming in. Some days there's greater time between waves. Now, are you really willing to take personal responsibility for the movement? Are you really willing to look at what is the movement of God and say, no, it's not the movement of God, it's the movement of my personality, my flawed personality. Well, don't take the bait. It's like a surfer saying, why do I only catch each second wave? Why don't I catch every wave? What's wrong with me? Or maybe if I waited till every third wave, I would get a bigger wave each time, because each third wave is bigger, and I'm not catching the ultimate waves each time. Hey, you've got to be more delighted in the movement of being than that, to interpret everything, to bring everything back to yourself as the cause, and delight in the waves as you're catching them, and the ride as you ride them. And if the wave peters out after 200 yards or a job after 2 years, don't make anything out of it. Like the surfer, you turn your board around and you paddle out, happily ready to catch the next second wave. You see? You don't have to evaluate it, and don't give credence to your theory by saying even your small daughter can recognize this pattern of inadequacy in you. The better the ego can define its lie, the more likely you are to be willing to abandon the delight of catching the wave of employment when it comes. Stay where the delight is. Stay with your innocence.
So, reference to my daughter, once again, she asked me, Daddy, so was it your idea or was it your boss's idea? I mean, this is a 5-year-old. I don't know where she got that idea, where she came up with that. But I said, it was God's idea, honey. And is that an adequate...
I would suggest that you believe yourself.
I'll try and listen more. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Only you have the capacity to abandon your reasons for being happy under whatever circumstances you're in. And I can guarantee you that if you do voluntarily abandon your capacity to be happy, you will be miserable, and your misery will incapacitate you and delay your seeing what's in front of you that you would have seen more readily if you hadn't abandoned your joy.
I understand. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Hands? The lady right here?
Hello, Raj.
Good afternoon.
I have a couple of questions, if it's okay.
You always do.
I know. One is about this eczema or whatever happens with my hands and feet. I'm wondering if I've conceptualized something that seems to make this be an ongoing thing.
Like what?
The idea that I have is that, and sometimes I see it as a gift and sometimes I don't, is that it is to help me to learn to choose peace in every moment.
Nope.
Okay.
No, before you go on. Don't render a benediction to your problems, or they'll stick around.
I want them to stick around.
As I've said before, the Holy Spirit can turn every problem to your advantage, so that you do learn something in the process of letting go of the problem. But that doesn't mean the problem was there to bless you. The problem was there because you were successfully distracted from claiming your birthright and acknowledging your divinity only.
Okay. I needed to hear that. I'm really grateful that is the answer. The other thing is, and this, it just seems like a funny little thing, but I'm going to ask anyway. It's about my job. I just work part-time. And the job that I had before, I liked it, but I'd gotten to the place where I worked very hard the whole time I was there. And I'm now beginning to think maybe I was trying to get approval for doing that or something. I don't know. Anyway, I've been moved to a different job where I have almost...
Were you?
I think I was.
No. Not do you think you were. Were you?
Yes.
Okay.
I was.
Honesty constitutes clarity, and clarity constitutes lack of confusion, lack of confusion constitutes greater cohesiveness, greater integrity of your experience of your being.
Okay.
And so that's why I pressed for it. Okay.
I just
continue.
became aware recently that that was true. But now I, I have a job where I have almost nothing to do, which was difficult for me for a while. And then I did begin asking for help to see it differently. I don't have more to do, but I'm more peaceful about not having more to do.
Yes.
And so I'm just trusting that there's integrity in this too. One thing
There
I
is
know, I'm not
indeed.
near as tired when I go home, which allows me to allow the inflow, I guess, that's happening within me.
Well, it's giving you the opportunity to see fulfillment happening without you having to personally break your neck to have it. You're having the opportunity to have what I would call a more normal experience.
Okay.
Thank your lucky stars.
I am grateful.
Yes. Practice gratitude instead of doubt.
Okay. I have been doing that more.
Yes.
Not enough, but
Don't let the ego undermine your experience of good. That is a job that isn't taxing you unreasonably. That's wonderful.
yes, it is. And there's a lot of lovely things, connections.
You realize that there are people, there are couples who don't join together or stay together because their relationship is so peaceful that they think it's dull. Or they think that it is lacking in the vitality that would be identified as a stronger interchange between the two, which is a complete lack of peace. And so they neglect to be grateful for a relationship that is loving and in which peace is the context. And they split up and find a more stimulating, non-peaceful relationship. So, do let gratitude pour forth.
I will. I will do that more.
Good.
Is there anything else that you would tell me that would be helpful now?
No?
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hands? Yes, right here. If you'll raise your hand so she can see where to bring it.
Well, can you hear me? Doesn't sound any louder from here. What she was just saying sort of stimulated a new way of me wanting to ask this question about your saying. The question that I was thinking before that was, I wanted to get some more information about what it's like for you being awake. And the specific thing that she just said, I don't know, maybe this isn't going to tie together, was about that you said to her that something like when there's a breach in your, this is me paraphrasing, there's a breach in your choosing who you are, then these things can happen, like a malady. And so I'm curious as to who chooses these. Where do these seeming maladies come from? They seem like they're just completely nonsensical, and when you think of the absolute truth, who dreams these up? Is it just a complete insane dream of the ego, or is there any? I mean, I know that none of it. Like, I'm very voiced in my own and your beliefs that it's not something to be justified or make sense out of. We've both said that over and over again. It's not something that you try to make some reason out of. But where does that come from? And then the second part of the question, which is really my earlier question. I don't know if this is going to tie together. And like, what's happening where you are in these realms, in the realm that you seem to exist in, that I may still think is different than where I am. What's it like where you are in these things, and what's your life like over there?
Well, first of all, it's right here. It's not over there. It's all the kingdom of heaven. Whether you're seeing it truly, whether you're not seeing it truly and I am seeing it truly, it still is the only thing it is, which is reality, the kingdom of heaven. I can see everything you see, except your misperceptions. I can't see it the way you're seeing it. I can hear your descriptions of it the way you're seeing it. But I can't see it the way you're seeing it. The only difference between us at this very moment is that you're not seeing all of what you're seeing in its true aspect. And I am. And so I'm right here with you. And I'm also everywhere omnipresently with you, because the fact is that you are omnipresent as well. You are infinite and specific simultaneously. So there will always be the specific identification of your presence. But you're not confined to it. The problem is you are limiting your vision of infinity and eternity by choosing to view it from entirely within the specific identification of you, instead of the infinite conscious awareness of you that fills all space. How are diseases created? How do they come into being? Let me put it this way. They are whatever will identify the breakdown of that which you are identifying yourself with. And if you are identifying yourself with and as a body, then whatever identifies breakdown of it, and therefore your life, you believe, that is the sort of dis-ease you will find occurring. None of you have yet had the beautiful eye disease. Where when you get it, your eyes become utterly beautiful. Because that doesn't instill fear. It would instill joy. It doesn't constitute a breakdown of your potential for existing, or your belief about your potential for existing. So it will be little niggling disturbances all the way up to that which will cause your body to cease to exist. a major terminal disease. But I'll tell you that none of your diseases are the result of a rational process. That's why they are illusions, and that's why you can have healing. You know, we've been talking about witnessing for your brother. You can also witness for your body. What are you witnessing for or against relative to your body? If you're walking around feeling distress, frustration because there is eczema on your body, or you are feeling threatened because of this particular virus that's in the air, or whatever, you are not witnessing to the truth about your body. You're not witnessing to the best in it. And I have told you that your body is the visibility and tangibility of your individuality. And your individuality is not the ego, it's God present right where you are. So not only do you need to embrace the truth about what you are as God individualized but never separate from God, you need to understand that this thing that you call a body is the visibility and tangibility of your individuality. And therefore, as I've said before, has the divine purpose of identifying your presence / God's presence perfectly. Now, this is the radical idealism, your ego would say. But it isn't idealism, it's the fact, which you need to begin to embody by embracing more consciously. And so, when your arm is covered with eczema, you've got to look at it and say, this isn't true. My body has the intent of identifying my presence, the presence of God, perfectly, and God hasn't given it any capacity to do anything else. And that's the fact that I am going to embrace and be committed to. That's witnessing for the best in your body. And once again, the more closely aligned your thinking is to the truth, the easier it is for truth, God's truth, capital T truth, to penetrate your awareness and give you the full vision of the thoughts you've been expressing, which is when you will experience instantaneous healing. And you will experience healing, instantaneous or not, because there is no rationale behind a disease. You see? We are going to take a break, and if you would like to continue with the question after the break, I will be happy to do it. Okay.
Continuing on with the question about what your experience is when I quote over there, unquote, it's like such a deep longing to understand this. So I don't want just the words, the way I say it, to get in the way. I mean, I understand that it's not over there, and yet that's obviously a perception that a lot of us have. And I may say some of these things in a light and humorous way, but I'm very sincere. I want to, be able to say it in a humorous way. But it's like, there's this longing to know, like, what you do over there. Do you have a job? And very specifically, this is a very deep longing for me to know. Is there sex over there? Is there gender? Is the boy and girl thing going on? And all of that, and then there's a very specific yes or no question also I want to throw in there, which is, assuming that you were awake in your form as Jesus, did you have a sexual affair with Mary Magdalene?
The latter question has been asked before, and it is one which is no one's business. And you can take from that whatever you wish. If you are wondering whether I ever had sexual relationships physically, the answer is yes. But who I had them with is not something I can answer discreetly or with honoring of whoever it might have been. Is there gender when you are awake? No. What you call gender is the incomplete experience of soul. Soul is your capacity to sense/feel the utterly divine meaning of everything. In other words, soul is the conscious experience of the meaning of God in each and everything. And I have mentioned before that if bodies were to pass through each other, because they are not dense truly as you are experiencing them at the moment, or even if one passes through a wall or a tree, the experience, the soul experience, can only be described as being the height of a sexual experience magnified infinitely, because there's no reservation, there's no reluctance to feel fully the divine meaning of whatever it is that one passed through. And it is a different aspect of experience than the undefended connection that all of the brotherhood has with each other constantly. Job. You are my job. I say that with the same lightheartedness that you asked the question. What is one's job when one is awake?